Been a difficult week in Australia with the headlines dominated by horrific knife-related crimes. So what exactly can be done to tackle this increasing scourge? As of today, 5 teenagers have been charged over the Western Sydney stabbing of 2 young brothers, one of whom died. The attack happened last Friday. The next day, Bondi Junction was under attack. 2 days after Joel Couchy used a knife to kill 6 people, the teen allegedly stabbed a bishop mid-service. Sydney is a city in shock.
There's just been too much of it lately. We've had it in a shopping centre, we've now had it in a place of worship, and it's just not on. People need to be able to feel safe in their community.
The Premier flagging a possible tightening of the state's knife laws.
Obviously, when people are being killed and you've got a situation where a knife is being used, then it would be irresponsible not to look at it.
Oh, look, it's very alarming. It absolutely devastates our family. It brings back a whole lot of memories, and it's memories you don't want to talk about.
In 2019, Brett Beasley and his wife Belinda lost their 17-year-old son Jack in a fatal stabbing. That tragedy led to Jack's Law, which allows police to use metal-detecting wands in safe night precincts, public transport hubs and public transport.
100% lives have been saved. We've taken 793 weapons off the streets. That's 793 weapons that could have been used for whatever cause or whatever purpose these people wanted.
Brett says Jack's Law should be nationwide.
We here in Queensland aren't the only ones that have this problem. Every single police officer should be carrying one of these wands and should have the same powers that the Queensland Police Service do. It's a no-brainer. It's saving lives. It's working.
A similar law was adopted in the Northern Territory last year, and WA is indicating it may soon follow suit.
The Queensland Government introduced wanding laws, and I'm studying those at the moment.
So is increased police power the solution for Australia's growing knife problem?
We just want what every other parent wants. We want your kids to be safe, to be able to go out and have some fun without having to worry about someone lurking in the crowd armed with a weapon.
Lydia Shelly is a criminal lawyer who serves on the committee of the New South Wales Council for Civil Liberties. Lydia, do you think something like Jack's Law could have stopped any of these recent attacks in Sydney?
Look, it's arguable that those laws wouldn't have done anything to prevent those terrible tragedies that we've seen plague Sydney of recent weeks. So it's really important that we take pause and we properly consider how best to respond to these tragedies that we've seen.
The point is well made, hard cases make bad law, all of that sort of thing. But there is a broader issue to do with knife crime that we're starting to see. We just heard in our package there, Queensland Police say that law and their policy has 100% saved lives. That's a quote from them. So what would you say to them, given that that seems to be their experience?
Well, in New South Wales, statistics show that in terms of the use of knives in violent offences, that's actually decreased. We don't have a knife crisis in New South Wales. We have a mental health crisis. And I don't mean that in any way to take away from the tragedy and the grief that has been left, particularly in relation to Bondi. But effectively, we can't just be introducing laws. Laws are a blunt instrument. They're reactive. And it wouldn't have solved or stopped any of the violence that we've seen in recent weeks.
To be fair, though, of the 3 knife cases that we've been talking about, only one seems to involve mental health as like the main plank of it. There must be other factors at play. I just want to bring you back to that Queensland Police statement. Do you think that they're misreading the situation there, or is Queensland different somehow? Like, what's your interpretation of that?
I can't speak to Queensland, but just going back a step in relation to mental health, we don't know to what level mental health has played, and that's the whole point. We need to stop, and before we introduce laws, which quite frankly are the easiest thing to do, that is the easiest thing to do, introduce more laws, bang on about a law and order campaign instead of looking at the fundamental policies that lead or contribute to youth crime or indeed crime in general, and mental health is a massive one. And it's politically unpopular to do so. But the fact of the matter is that for a number of decades, mental health in New South Wales has not been adequately funded.
So what's the solution to stopping the next attack?
Look, I think we need to we owe it to the community and we owe it to those poor families who have lost their loved ones in recent weeks. We need to take a pause and actually consider what has been the failings leading up to these events being carrying out. It's just I myself am still coming to terms with it. It's absolutely horrific. It's not the Sydney that we know. The other thing we need to do is look at properly, instead of rushing to introduce more laws, we need to absolutely fund mental health programs, including access to mental health for young people, but also including those who are incarcerated and who are due to be released and to join our communities. And again, that may not be politically a popular thing to do because it means sustainable funding long after an election campaign, but it is absolutely the right thing to do, and it's certainly a very strong starting point.
Lydia, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.